All right, welcome to Artcasters, episode 392. We are 8 away from a cool 400. We got David Hartman with us tonight, a skeleton that Josh is holding, and Khan.
Yes.
So let's go around and introduce ourselves real quick. You can catch my stuff at CoreyKerr.com. Got shirts and hoodies and animated shorts that you can watch there and that type of stuff. Go check those out. I'll be kicking out a newsletter with some interesting things soon. I've got a mural that I painted, and I'm doing a build of a Gonk droid that I've been getting footage of as well. So if you haven't seen those, then you should look at the CoreyKerr.com/email. Jump on the email newsletter. Josh, how about you? Where can we find your stuff?
I just want to highlight Gary's comment. So you can find my stuff at joshuakemble.com. You can also pick up 2 stories in Jacob's apartment at bookstores everywhere. They're both really cool indie underground books that I did, and honestly, you guys got to support indie comics. So support my indie comics. Start with that, and then also if you want to watch me making Not Death But Love, the strange supernatural story of Elizabeth Barrett Browning. That's historical fiction dealing with spiritualism and supernatural seances that Elizabeth Barrett Browning, the poet, got really involved and interested in, then check out my live streams. Yeah.
Cool. And Scott isn't here, but I believe he sent somebody in his place. Would you like to introduce yourself?
This person, this alien thing, the green with the eye. I don't know you, but you and you, I know. I never forget a face. Mr. Kimball, is it? And my old nemesis, Captain Kerr. You still remember me, Captain. I cannot help but be touched. I never thought I'd see your face again. As far as anything I have to promote, the only thing that I want to mention is my crowdfunding campaign to raise money to reap vengeance on Captain Corey Kerr. The funds you provide me will allow me to commandeer a starship and strike fear in the U.S. Enterprise until I take over and take control of Project Genesis. And we'll see what happens after that. Please contribute.
You guys heard him. Back the man's Kickstarter, okay?
Vengeance against Corey.
Yeah, he's got an enterprise to commandeer, guys. We gotta make this happen. We gotta support like local indie startups that are trying to take over the enterprise. It's gotta happen.
I really like the idea of villains being crowdfunded at this point in time. That's it's a good place for our society.
Honestly, we shouldn't have said that on air because I don't know if anyone's done that as a plot, but that would be a killer spin on the superhero genre.
Right.
We could have kickstarting villains and superheroes.
Go fund me to take out Superman.
Adamantium skeleton.
Okay. David Hartman, tell us who you are right now and what's going on, man.
Well, right now, I am David Hartman. I draw monsters. I work in animation, movies, all that kind of stuff. I love Halloween, so my friends have me on here to talk ghosts.
Very scary.
Very scary. Ooh.
Oh, that's good stuff. Do you have anything you want to promote? I think you've got a comic.
Let me come back to the living because I am soaking wet with this crazy mask.
Transforming right before our eyes.
I stand corrected. I do know you.
It's like the Hulk.
David.
I mean, I have a I always have a ton of stuff whenever you guys have me on. Let me see. Well, right now it's Halloween time, so I do my little Instagram drawing prompts. And,
Yes.
people really liked them, so I started doing books of them. So I'll plug those.
Oh, I love it.
Call it Monster
yes.
Wing, and it's going on the drawing prompt kick that everybody does, but mine are more like B movie monsters.
Yeah.
like
And in full color.
hemoglobin or Phantom of the Mosh Pit.
Yes.
This is one of my favorites, Tarantula La La.
Yeah, that's great.
But anyhow, I put those out. They're only like $10, and I got a new one coming out.
Wait! You got to show off that cover. Who is that charming fellow?
This?
Yes, there we go. I love it.
I like the kid at the bottom.
I like the little. I don't even know what those hats are called, but I like that.
They're like beanies. Right?
Yeah, the little spinny helicopter beanie. Yeah.
And then I've been doing a ton of board games lately. I'll show this one. I just did one for myself, but I'm probably going to end up selling these because it's pretty cool. I made a ripoff of Candyland.
Oh, sweet.
Called it Monsterland.
Okay, if you...
There's a family land. Look at that.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, that kid in the middle is having the most fun. The only thing is Candyland only takes a few minutes to play, but I mean, I went ahead and made the whole freaking thing. So here's like the board.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's exciting. You have to make this real because I've had to play Candyland with my son, and I think we'd both enjoy Monsterland a lot more.
So I got that one. And then the real games, I think I talked about them last year. I don't know if I showed them or not, but I did 2 for Trick or Treat Studios. So these are actually in stores now. I got Blood Orders, which is a vampire game. And I did, I think, close to almost 200 new illustrations.
Oh, yeah.
For this. So it's got everything from your little game dividers. I did, special art for those.
Oh, that's beautiful.
So there's that. But then the cool part is you get all these like cards and stuff. So I literally got hundreds of cards with different focus, vampires.
Oh, and what David is forgetting to mention is that those 200 illustrations that he did them in the 10 minutes before we started.
It's true.
Well, that's not all, because during that same time, I did another one.
Nice.
Called, this one I really like. It's totally different, not necessarily my horror stuff. It's called Troll Fest, and it is by Trick or Treat, and it's like a really fun game where you are playing, in kind of a D&D fantasy world, but the idea is to make a band. So you're making your band, and there's just tons of rules that you can win like a million different ways. And it's another one. Let me see if I have some cards here, because these are a little more of my cartoony stuff than just blood and gore, but still kind of weird because I got Trolls Focus.
Oh, I love it.
Let's see, like that. So each card is somebody different, plays a different instrument. So, like her.
Oh, that's great.
Saxophone, vampire.
And what fine retailers can we find these at?
I have no idea. Con. Always asking the tough questions. I think, they're probably at most game sellers. These are like the higher end. They're not in Walmarts and stuff like that. They're in the, specialty shops and stuff. But I know they were at a bunch of different game stores, Barnes and Noble, stuff like that. So, but Trick or Treat is mainly, a Halloween mask company, and I've worked with them over the years making things like this guy. And they started doing games and asked me to work on these, and don't know. They're just a blast. They're just a lot of fun to, just draw crazy, crazy characters.
Yeah, that's cool. Do you deal with like the setting up of the dynamics of the game and stuff too?
No.
Oh, cool.
That
So
is
it's just
somebody
focusing
else's
on the
headache.
fun. Yeah, I love
All
it.
I gotta do is draw the monsters. So
Oh, that sounds so fun.
let somebody else worry about the dynamics.
That's got to be cool to like when you do get the board game and you get to see it actually like spec'd and like at size, like mounted on that board. I mean, there's just something real
Well, it's
cool
just
about
us
that.
artists, anything tangible you can hold in your hands
Yeah.
takes it to that next level of, I've reached manufacturing.
Yes.
People are
It
making
actually
this.
got made. No, I love
Yeah.
it.
It's like all of a sudden it's real. It's legit. So,
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
once they
I've
sent
had
me
to
some
tell
games, I was just
employers
like, I
that,
want to play. I don't even know how to play the games.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm always like,
I've had to tell a lot of employers that too, because it's like that's a really good tip if you're ever hiring artists is like give them a copy of what you're having them do, like if they're working in house, whatever, because we're really weird and that goes a long way. That's all I would say.
and Trick or Treat was really good with me in that they did a good job actually, not just explaining the game dynamics, but they would send me just they would make it out of basically cardboard and here's the pieces, but you can actually play and know the game dynamics. So, which, might not have a huge impact on the art, but there's something to that. And then, so that's really fun. And then they actually break it down. It's like, okay, we need this many of this kind of card, this many of this, but then they just let me do it. And
so they're like the perfect client, basically. that's amazing.
Yeah, I love working with them. So plug for them. So I got that. And then my biggest thing right now is got a comic book out called Ghosts. It's right now it's digital on the Global Comics app, which I don't know if you're familiar with them. They're kind of new, kind of like a Comixology. It's like a monthly subscription now, but you have access to all the different comics publishers, mainly indies, but you can also join and put up your own books and actually set prices for them and stuff. And I really kind of liked what they were doing, and we did this book here. I'll show the cover here and maybe a couple pages. So it's called Ghosts.
Yeah,
It's a Halloween vibe. And these kids, and it's a big mystery, but the thing is it has to do with horror hosts, and these horror hosts are from different books. We got Vamp and Count Crowley and Nita Hawes, all from different like Dark Horse and Image books and stuff. And Eric Denton is the brainchild behind it and brought all these people together and brought me on. And he started this production company called Monster Forge, brought me on for that. So now we're personally working on getting some games, comics, toys, just trying to hit the market and the kind of stuff we like. So we have like 2 other graphic novels I did with him, and those are still looking for a home. So, but hopefully soon. And
that's incredible.
I always have a million different little things going, but those are probably the big ones right now.
That's amazing. Is there like can you order direct the game?
Oh,
that
yeah.
you're
So
showing?
sorry. The Ghosts we are doing a print run, and we're doing it through Zoop.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah. So if you're not familiar with Zoop, it's kind of like a crowdfunding for comics. Really great guys. So we released this digitally first, but there's been kind of a demand for print. So we're gonna do a Zoop and try to get enough to put it in print. And if that works out, I might be putting a lot of other books through there, because I got a ton I've done that are finished. They're just sitting here. I just want to make the next book and not market the one I got.
Yeah.
Because I'm that bad.
Yeah.
Didn't we have another guest who went through Zoop for crowdfunding?
We did, and I'm trying to remember.
That was
Oh yes.
full tilt, right?
Yeah.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
Was it successful?
A very.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he did great. It was why am I blanking on his name? It's Jason. Is it Jason
Copeland, I believe.
Copeland? Yeah.
Yes. Khan
Yeah.
does not forget anything. We have a
I
real
told
quick.
you I never forget the face or the name.
We do have a question for Khan that we should try to get in real quick before we continue. Where was it? Okay, it's some
I am in
person.
no position to answer any questions.
A question
and
for
you
Khan.
are in a position to demand nothing.
Okay, Khan. They were just asking how you handle being defeated by your lifelong nemesis.
Aw,
That's a rude question, guys.
My old friend.
that was
Do you know the old Klingon proverb that says, revenge is a dish best served cold? It is very cold in space.
I didn't realize that
And
was a
in answer to
Klingon
the
origin.
question,
yeah.
surely I've made my meaning plain. I mean to avenge myself upon you, Captain. I've deprived this live stream of power, and when I swing around, I intend to deprive you of your life.
Oh man.
Wow.
That movie would be really interesting if the other side just laughed the whole time about what was going on.
I'm a little scared here. I don't think I want to mess with Khan over here. David, that's amazing. So we'll keep an eye on Zoop as well for that because that.
Yeah, no, thank you. I think it's at coming soon right now, but I'll be posting on Insta and Facebook and all the usual.
Awesome.
When it's coming out.
Do you have like so Instagram and Facebook? Do you have like an email newsletter or anything that?
I say I do, but I think I've only sent out one.
Okay.
That went to my mom. So I do. My website's www.sideshowmonkey.com. But after Halloween's my big season. But right after Halloween, I am going to open up an online store. I got prints, stickers, the whole 9 yard. Lots of different items. I have them. It's all together. I got the taxes worked out, the shipping worked out. I just got to hit the go button. I'm always a little afraid of hitting go and then nothing comes in. But I'm going to finally open it, I think, in November. So.
Oh, that's cool. Exciting. And honestly, it sounds like you got all the headache stuff out of the way, which is good.
I did. I usually I like to prepare. I got all that done, but the hard part's just beating your own brain.
Yeah.
And doing it.
Yeah, it's beautiful stuff. So I can't wait to see it like a bunch of of your own shop. You know, it's going to be exciting.
Yeah, so definitely a lot of prints and I made sticker sheets and kind of fun.
Are you making Gorbo stuff? I'm just asking for a friend.
What's that? Gorbo?
Are you making any Gorbo merch?
Well, I do have a book that I released some fake covers on Instagram for, but I've been actually working on trying to get it going called Monsters and Mutants, which was going to be because I like doing so much illustration. I did one art book in 2008. I haven't made another one because by the time I start to think I got one together, I've done a crap load of more art, and I just want to get rid of the other stuff and make a new one. So I think I might try to do maybe a bi-monthly book magazine that's kind of in the throwback to, creepy and eerie and
oh, that'd be great.
But it's half of an art book with just illustrations plus one horror story plus a Gorbo story. And that's kind of what I want to do. I say all this stuff until I get a job and then it takes me away. But there's plans for it.
I love it.
I have a question for David.
Yes. Con.
So, David, you are talking about this new store you want to have. A friend of mine who is indisposed at the moment, who I've taken over this underground lair from, he's working on some new content centered around old comic book ads. And I understood at one time you had some fake comic book ads that you did yourself.
Yes.
Will those be available as prints?
Honestly, I want to do that. Let me see if I got some here. I was going to show. I was hoping to show Scott, but he's not here.
I'll relay the information.
I'll show you. So I've been making some new ones, and I will have these as prints. But some of them are pretty weird, like the $5 man.
Yeah.
Figure. You can see here, trash can transport repair pod. It's got a radiated radio for kids.
I love it.
Yeah, you work his emaciated arm. So there was that. I might have shown this one.
Please
before.
tell me there'll be a zombie Evil Knievel ad.
Oh, wait and see.
I love that.
Yeah, make money, get prizes with fast-selling black market organs. You get things, which is my favorite, the ham and sneeze sandwich.
Nice.
Then this one's for myself. I will train you at home for good jobs in nefarious science.
I love it.
You can make your own abominations.
Technical question.
100-piece abominations. I like these guys.
Oh, that's
I have a technical question.
Uh-oh.
So the ad you showed before that one with the photographs, I mean, we realize that you're a filmmaker.
Yes.
So do you stage all those scenes and photograph them yourself?
Some of it is stock photos, and then we paint over them. So good old Pixabay, Pexels, you get those, and then you just paint over them. At least the body's shape is there.
I love it.
Yes.
And then most of the monsters, I just take photos of my own monster masks and just put them on.
You've got quite a collection, so.
Yes. And then I do have one other big one I forgot about. Zack Snyder has got a new movie, Rebel Moon.
Yes.
Coming out on Netflix, and I storyboarded a bunch of that and a lot of the action scenes. And they even released like this little teaser trailer for Netflix, and you can see my boards in there on a shot. So it was pretty cool. But yeah, I'm kind of excited. I haven't seen the movie, so I'm excited to see how those scenes come out. Be kind of cool.
That's awesome.
So I assume you can't show those until the movie.
No, no, that's all top secret. I also worked on another one of his shows. I think got announced called Twilight of the Gods, which is like a Norse mythology based show. But I directed on that. And
oh, nice.
Yeah, so. Really cool, and I'm excited to see that too. I don't get to see the stuff until the same time everyone else does.
So how many years ago did you do the storyboards for Rebel Moon?
Actually, not very.
Really?
Yeah, it was only Zach works fast. It was probably about 6 months ago.
Wow. Oh, wow.
To a year. So
that's
he's
really
like
fast.
you.
Yeah, they were already in set building when they brought me on for a lot of the action stuff and some of the scenes I'm doing. So,
wow. Well, it's good that they brought you in there so that they could be like, okay, we need these tomorrow, and you're like, here you go, done.
That's basically kind of how it was. Yeah, hopefully the next podcast we do together, I can show some stuff.
Oh, I'm excited to see that. Yeah.
That's awesome.
That was probably our longest intro yet.
Oh, it's
just you do so little work that it's like, I don't know. I think Josh still brings up watching you ink a page on the stream at least once a month.
Yeah, that's true. I do bring it up a lot. That was really impressive because I remember it was like we had like a 1 or 2, maybe 1.5 hour discussion, and in the process of an hour, you had roughed and completed from rough to finish a page, and it looked great. And I was like, "That's pretty amazing." Yeah.
It's not the best, but I work fast. But I was one of these guys that was very meticulous and stuff, but then I wasn't putting out as much. I had more stories to tell and more stuff up here than I did than I could keep up with.
Yeah.
So you just kind of draw until what feels comfortable and what's the right amount to tell the story you want to tell, and then move on. But that's the storyboard side of things, you know, that kind of forces you to let go. You know.
So I have another question, and you can feel free to elaborate as much as you like. Or not. So, because in the entertainment business and there's strikes and things going on, how does that affect your personal work? Are you amping up productions? You're getting ready to open a store?
Right.
Yes.
Well, that's a good guess there, because I mean the strikes did hit us pretty hard. With animation, it's not as bad. Animation writers they're still part. A lot of them are still part of the Screen Cartoonist Union, but we stand in solidarity with the other unions. You know, like what happens to one happens to the others. You know, they went on strike mainly because of the AI stuff, and but in doing so, I mean, I think a lot of executives forget, you know, like you write the stuff for animation. It might take a year to get your show up and running. So a lot of shows have been on hold, and then, you know, a lot of I would say kind of like the streaming animation bubble has popped a little bit right now. And, you know, during pandemic, there's a big, like, let's make stuff because nobody can be on set. And now it's like, whoa, we got too much. You know, so, you know, I think it's hit us, but I usually don't get worried about this stuff because the winds constantly change.
Yeah.
You just gotta, if you're in this business, you have to be ready and prepared to have, you know, basically get ready for the winter, you know, and hopefully you've stored all your acorns and, you know, got enough wood and you can ride it out. So, you know, that's, you know, it's kind of like what you did on Botany Bay with your team, you know, to survive out there for so long.
I am all that's left of the crew on Botany Bay. Marooned on a dying planet, buried alive.
A fantasy island.
I don't get that reference.
Oh man!
But yeah, the strikes have definitely hit us pretty hard. You know, the Screen Actors one's still going too. So they've allowed a lot of voice acting to still go on, but you know, it's still kind of a gray area right now. So, you know, hopefully there'll be some more stuff picking up. But I like to dabble in a little bit of everything, comics. And, you know, kind of the stuff we've talked before, board games and all that. It's like, you know, I like to have other sources of income too. But, yeah, you do what you gotta do.
I think that's smart too, because I do feel like a lot of us have stuff to pivot to. So it's like, and this is like, if anybody's out there like starting, it's like gold advice where it's like prepare for feast and famine, right?
Yeah.
And then second, like during those famines, that's why David's able to be like, dude, I'm gonna do these 5 billion things, and one or two of those are gonna happen like for real. Like most of them will happen eventually. But now's the time to make some of them actually happen. And then, like, you know, when you're in your feast period, you can see the fruit from those things, too.
Yeah. Well, I try not to let myself, like, when you had these, when I was first out here, you know, I'm originally from Ohio.
Yeah.
This work ethic of just grinding all the time. But when I came out here, like, I've never taken a vacation because I want to store as many acorns as I can.
Yep.
But then when you do have a time like this, you know, I try not to let it get me down and look at it more like this is the much needed vacation that I wanted, and take advantage of that free time. Don't just be depressed about it. Make stuff, because you'll get another gig going. It's going to take up all your time. You're going to be like, oh, I wish I did this during that time. I had all that free time. Why didn't I work on my book or whatever? I mean, you obviously need downtime for mental health.
Oh yeah.
But take advantage of those times. But what you said, like my daughter's like getting into animation and stuff, and it's like I keep telling her it's a tough business in that it can feel like 9 to 5 sometimes, or 9 to 8:59.
Yeah.
But you got to be prepared for the highs and lows, because it's very fluctuating. You jump from studio to studio. It's a very tough gig with very little job stability. But if you're able to jump around and do a good job, you can certainly make a good career out of it.
Yeah, for sure.
I think most art's like that, right?
Yeah. It's funny. A lot of people who like, my son's actually like, at least so far, like super interested in like math and science and stuff. And I'm like, good. I'm like, again, if he wants to do art and stuff, like, and we encourage creativity and stuff like that. But but it is funny because my dad was a creative, and I remember when it became clear that I was going to be like an illustrator, he was kind of like, happy for you, I'm excited, I'm going to encourage your art, but that's a rough road. Like, it's kind of, so I think coming from creatives, it's like one of those things of like, knowing kind of some of the darker sides to the things and the brighter sides. It is funny how that works.
Well, and the one aspect of it that I hate the most, but I think keeps you creative and on your feet the most, is that you're hustling.
Yep.
Right. And you can't really get too comfortable, because once that gig's over, you're hustling again, and now you're hustling against a whole new generation of people coming in. So it keeps you on your toes and kind of forces you to keep your game up, but don't lose your sight. It's still got to be a fun job, and you got to enjoy it.
And on the plus side, I have a feeling like, I have a feeling you're going to have like 50 books come out, like in the interim. So, that's going to be, that's salient advice. That's awesome.
Not to mention building a library of properties that when things change in the entertainment industry, you'll have able to pitch all of these ideas.
Absolutely. And Con is on it. Absolutely. I mean, I'm pitching some ideas.
Never underestimate my superior, genetically engineered superior intellect.
But I mean, it's like, shoot, you just made me lose my train of thought, Con. He's so good at that.
It was regarding pitches.
Yes. Oh yeah, pitches. So I'm pitching some right now, but again, kind of like I was saying, it's a weird time in the industry, because even the people that can buy aren't even sure if they're allowed to or should, because there's so many talks right now of different places being bought out or shifting allegiances or whatever. It's a really bizarre time, I think, in the industry right now. It's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. And especially animation. Cartoon Network is shut down now. And
oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, Adult Swim's still going, but they shut down like the big building they had out here. It's been a kind of a landmark and been amazing. And DreamWorks just announced on the trades and stuff that they may just work remotely and close up a lot of their studio space. So it's interesting time right now. And I kind of with friends, kind of saw this coming. We would talk about, it's like, okay, well, with the pandemic, you're forcing everyone to use Zoom and work remotely. It's just going to set a new precedent. But for me, instead of fighting it and being scared of it and stuff, it's like, how can we run with it? And I mean, the thing is, get to work at home. I mean, that's a benefit. So try not to let those things get you down, and just more, how do you adapt to them? So.
Yep. I love it.
And do you prefer to work at home or go into the studio?
Yeah. Well, I do now. I didn't used to, but Nowadays, now that I've had a kid and stuff, my hours have shifted. I used to be a night owl. I'd work throughout the night, wake up, go to work, come home, and then, just be up all night. But now that I've had a kid, I'm up at like 6 in the morning.
Yep.
But I fall asleep like 9:30, 10. I just crash. But I get up in the morning and I just start. That's when I'm my most creative now. It's kind of like like the shower time. When you take a shower, your brain is almost like comes up with its best ideas in the shower, and it's that same kind of mentality. And I try to harness it in the morning. If I draw and get stuff done in the morning, then I feel better. Yes, it's pros and cons.
Yeah.
Pros and cons.
That's brilliant. But I get a lot more done that way working at home. Where if it's a two-edged sword, because I also like going into work because it's a long drive, and there's during that drive time where you can just say your phone's out of signal area and turn on a radio and just ignore the world for, at least out here in California, for an hour, just down the street. But that's kind of nice. But I always think that hour-long drive just causes me to be at the office an hour longer than I need to be. So I'm kind of more of like, get as much done as I can earlier in the day, and it gives me more time to play later.
Yeah.
So.
Con, do you prefer working from home or from like commandeered ships?
I prefer right now my residence here in this underground lair that I've undertook. After, as I've said, being marooned on the barren wasteland of the planet. Marooned for over 15 years by Captain Corey Kirk, who I wish to avenge myself upon, if I haven't made that clear.
Man, I made a mistake. Corey and Josh both got on their earworm covers, and I forgot mine.
Ah, yes. I know a thing about earworms. Just ask Mr. Chekhov.
Oh man.
What? So, David, we can loop back around to all the wonderful artwork and things that you're working on.
Oh yeah.
We know that it is the Halloween season.
Yes.
So, what are your big plans this Halloween?
Make children cry.
Ah, yes.
Actually, that's not true. I've passed that mantle to my daughter. She's made more kids cry than I do anymore. So,
Like father.
I'm a proud father. But yeah, no, we usually deck the house. I think I've told you guys before, I don't decorate until like an hour before Halloween, and then I take it down an hour after.
Again, everything David does is very quick and fast
Yeah.
and incredible when it's done, and you have to ask yourself, how did he do that?
Well, for me, it's more about the kids get home from school, gotta do their homework, have dinner, so they're not out playing usually right before Halloween. So that gives me time to change the house. So at night, the house is all of a sudden this creepy place. But then, when it comes back, they wake up in the morning, the house is all cleaned up and back to normal. So I don't know. I that would freak me out if I was a kid. Even if they don't see that and don't get it, I don't care. It means something to me.
I love that though, because you're creating like a ghost story or like a kind of creepy like memory for these kids to be like, you remember that weird house, it's like
only on Halloween night.
Only
We
on
never saw the
Halloween.
like right now, my house, not a single Halloween decoration out. All the neighbors got their pumpkins and stuff. I want to look like that curmudgeon that doesn't, but then the house is just completely haunted on Halloween night.
Except in your studio there. But so is any of the other interior decorated or just your studio?
Not really. I wanted it to be. Let's just say I was outvoted. So I do have a mantle over my fireplace. Is my kind of Frankenstein mantle. It's got like a bunch of Frankenstein toys and nostalgia. But I had to pretty much keep it in here. But the whole office is like that. I think like don't know if you can see over here. Well, not showing it very well, but there's the Frico Asylum doors. I got Patterson Bigfoot cast there.
Oh, nice.
Gotta have your Bigfoot casts.
You know, now I want one.
This coming from a man who has a Tyrannosaurus Rex or a Raptor or something on his mantle.
It's true.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, my wife and I said when we first got a house, because we were artists, so we're like, we're never going to have a house. And then when we were like, we'll have like a T-Rex head, like mounted above the mantle, like clearly, like, you know, the fireplace or whatever. And then when we actually were lucky enough to get a house, we were like, all right, we're getting a T-Rex. It was like we said we would. Which is, I love the fact that
that's
David,
the reward for the goal. You hit your goal.
And also, David, I
yes.
think I'm curious if you have this, because it cracks me up. I also have creepy Haunted Mansion paintings.
Yes, I was going to mention that.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And part of it's so that I have this lovely idea of him, like when he's in high school, having like a date come by the house and see this like just creepy like family lineage kind of thing like on the wall.
Like high school Ohio, I remember I did a self-portrait painting. We had to do self-portraits, and I did it life size, but I did it from waist up, so it was like a 4 foot tall. Me with my complete stomach ripped open and my entrails.
Nice.
And I don't know, the times are just different. I don't know what, but they hung it up in the school hallway. Like it was up there on the way to the cafeteria for like months and months.
I love that.
Yeah, it was really weird. And then I remember the local library, I did a picture of Freddy Krueger, you know, as a little kid. It's like drawing as trying to be realistic as you can. So I had like a cool picture of Freddy, you know, with a glove, you know, in front of his face. And I did it as real as I could. And it won like an award and was hanging up in the library for a year. And I'm just like, you know, it's like really bizarre. I can't really see that these days, but it was pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Times.
Like, those were adults that made those choices to hang that up on the school.
Times have definitely changed.
Yes.
I've heard stories in the 80s where kids would actually get to wear their scary Halloween costumes to school.
Yeah.
Now they don't have Halloween, they have literary fairs where you have to dress as a character from one of your favorite books, but not a horror novel.
Yeah.
Which means the parents have to make 2 costumes instead. Thanks.
That is true. I remember going to a lot of the school parties. I'd always have like the not so weird costume. Although now that I think back, they were pretty weird. I had one called Quasi Weirdo, which is like my eye hanging out and a big hump on my back with weird animals oozing out of a crevice on my back. So yeah, I guess that's kind of weird. But
and you guys, like anybody watching this who hasn't seen our Halloween episodes, check out David's amazing costumes. He does like it for him. Costumes are like it's just a whole level beyond. Like they're so cool. They look like, you know, straight up like movie props or like, you know, real productions. They're really cool, and his whole family does them. Like like as like they'll do like a group kind of thing. It's amazing. Yeah.
The wife and kid are working on theirs today. It's just so much fun to just, you know, throw that stuff together. Like the green zombie, it's just like a crappy $5 mask, but then you remold it using a heat gun, remold the face to look better, paint it, you know, do the corpsing on it for skin. And I don't know, that stuff's just it's fun. It's maybe procrastinating from real life a little bit, you know, but it's just kind of fun to get in there and get your hands dirty. Like even today and yesterday, my daughter and I are just sculpting some masks, but we're just using the Crayola modeling clay that self-hardens, but it's like, hey, how much detail can we get in here and make a zombie face, you know? And that stuff's just I don't know, for me that's the fun part of Halloween, you know? So I just, you know, I hate being a grown-up and just want to be a kid, so it's like drawing monsters and making monsters and stuff, you know. That's the way, you know, that's the stuff that made me happy when I was little, and it still makes me happy today. So
living the dream, as they say.
Yes.
I have to call out a comment. So, Gary Hodges says, times have changed, Con. You are now played by a white Brit now. I have seen this man, this Benedict Cumberbatch. He is an imposter, and I plan to avenge myself upon him as well. And his minions of fans.
You know what you could do is, Con, get cast as like the next Doctor Strange, and there you go. You just boom, it's like right back at you, Ben.
Yes, much like the old Klingon proverb. Revenge is a dish best served. It is very cold in Hollywood.
Oh man, that's good stuff.
So what do you guys got going on, Josh? I know I've been following your book and stuff that you've been working on for so long. It's just the stuff's looking amazing.
Thanks. Yeah, it takes forever. I am very slow, so it's taken a while. But
I'm enjoying watching it. I watch your vlogs and stuff as you're drawing and stuff. It's a lot of fun.
Awesome. Yeah, I appreciate
that stuff's inspiring, and I just like drawing and having someone else drawing while you're doing it. It's just just makes it a lot more fun and more I don't know, it's just inspiring to hear other people talking about their art and stuff.
I agree. Yeah, I think it's fun to I was talking to a couple of friends from art school or whatever, and like explaining why I like live streaming, while I'm drawing. And that's why it's like, it feels like art school where you're like hanging out with other artists.
Yeah. You don't even look up. You're just talking to people. Yeah. I like that too. And, I've always putting on art vlogs and stuff while I'm drawing the comics and stuff like that. It used to just be movie soundtracks, but now I've heard them all so much. It's like you just, listening to podcasts and other artists really gets me inspired these days.
Yeah, and sometimes just hearing like conversation or something like that, it keeps like a different part of your brain active while you're drawing. I don't know. It's that is
Scott, even though he's not here, like his newer stuff, I just absolutely love.
Oh yeah,
all the nostalgia stuff.
He would, if he were here, he'd ask you to spread the word and tell your friend. He's looking for more views.
Absolutely. But those cereal boxes are amazing. I love that. I don't know. That's
much like the content that you used to, when you used to do videos and put so much time into them, and it's a little disheartening when you put that much time into something and it's just not taking off the way you'd like.
Yes, I know the feeling.
But much like me,
but
you have that tenacity to never give up.
Yep, you just got to keep at it. Do not put it in stasis. Didn't work for Colin.
Oh, that's funny. I've just been doing boring client work. Some of it's kind of fun, but
you're still doing a lot of animation, right? Like,
yeah. So I've got I'll show you this one.
Yeah.
This hasn't been approved yet, so it might change, but this is one for Wacom.
That's cool.
Yeah, so they liked the draft. I think they'll like the final here.
What are you animating in?
I'm using Photoshop with a plugin called Time Lord, and then After Effects, and so
cool.
Yeah, it's pretty simple setup. I don't do a lot of. I've been doing a lot more lately. I don't do a lot of frame by frame like traditional animation as much, but that is. And then I've been doing. I'm animating a children's book. I think I can show you this. I don't have this. I don't think I have this pulled up. Yeah. Anyway, I'm doing where I'm not doing the art. This is one of the first things I've done, other than since Jim Luhan, where I haven't been drawing it. So I'm Kathy, who's a co-host on 48-Hour Art Check with me a while ago. She's illustrated this children's book, and the author and her wanted a little animated short. So they wrote a song and we're doing that, and then just
Really
some
cool.
some branding stuff. So there's a lot of logos out there that I've made that, for really exciting companies like an investment firm, and stuff like that. It's good
Hey.
stuff. There's actually one of them is fun. Is it's called Surf Skull, and that's like it looks like a bucket hat, but it's actually like a helmet that you can wear while you're surfing, so
Oh.
that you don't crack your head off the the reef or the
Oh, that's great.
rocks or whatever. Yeah, great product, and it looks really awesome. So
Wear that, Corey, if you ever go surfing with your proclivity with accidents.
yeah, man.
You had me a bucket hat. I just want to wear it all the time because I hit my head nonstop.
Yeah.
I'd like to see a helmet shaped like Dumb Donald's, whatever that is from Fat Albert.
the eyes come through.
Some people say
eyes
it's his hair. Some people say it's a stocking cap. I don't know.
Oh man, that'd be good stuff. Yeah.
I'm sure someone has made that.
So, David, out of curiosity, of all the projects you kind of have in the like cooking, what's the one you're currently like in right now, like that you're able to talk about? Because I'm sure
Well,
there's
it's mainly because of the work stuff right now. It's mainly I'm focusing on comics.
Yeah.
And stuff right now, like this ghost one that just come out. It's like a 30-some pager, but right now it's more of the other side. I've done the art on these other graphic novels. There's 2 that are 100 pages. I'm on another one that's 70-some pages so far, but I want to get to 100. The other 2, it's just now. Soliciting to publishers, or going to crowdfund, or just deciding what that next step is. But how that is. I mean, that's pretty much a full-time job.
Yep.
So, I'm kind of in that world right now, but at the same time ramping up for what's the next one, because I get drawing, and then that and online store. Those are probably my 2 priorities right now.
Yeah.
And pitching stuff, which is the stuff I can't talk about, but I'm trying to develop some different properties, some that are already pre-existing, and then others that I created, and just getting them ready with pitch decks and stuff, and go through the rigmarole. But I'm planning them where, okay, if that fails, or once that fails, whatever, I can at least use those and turn those into books.
Yeah.
And repurpose the art and other things. So
that's awesome. It sounds awesome, but it also sounds I guess the game is because I don't know, I always struggle with this. It's to not like get super embedded in a bunch of drawing projects, and like to kind of stick to like the stuff none of us like doing. Like
I know, and that's the hard part. Why I even do the Monster Ween thing and stuff.
Yeah, I love that.
Halloween's my busy season, but a lot of it is actually non-Halloween related busy work, and then sometimes I feel like I miss out on the season. So it's kind of doing that to keep me vested in that. But
well, I
it's
realize
that tough part right now, because it's like like doing the comics. It's such a labor of love. There's not a necessarily a huge paycheck at the end of the rainbow. Not always, but you can't. You don't necessarily know if that's coming, and it's a lot of work. So it's a lot of work that's not paid on a regular basis. So it's kind of that downtime where you're committing to this project that isn't going to pay off until a much later date, and then it's balancing how much time do I spend on that versus how much I need to spend on the other stuff that is more tangibly going to put money
exactly
into the pocket. So that's the tough artist dilemma. How much is your own, how much is someone else's, and how much is actually just a real job. So kind of that's where I'm at right now, is just balancing all these different projects,
juggling,
but right now they're all again, taking this downtime between shows and focusing on these projects where, hopefully they'll pay off.
Oh, we're gonna see. I'm sure we're gonna see some stuff come out of it because it's just like it's unbelievable.
Even if I have to just crowdfund it or make it myself, I will.
Oh, yeah.
I just want it. I'm making it for people to read and enjoy.
Yeah.
People who love Halloween and kind of fun horror like I do. So I just want to, make that stuff and put it out there.
I love that.
So, I have a question. When you're developing these pitches,
yes,
because you are not only an animation director, but you've also directed live action.
Yep.
When you design a pitch, do you have in mind, is it live action or animation, or do you sort of leave that up to whoever you're presenting it?
No, I usually need to go in. I go in knowing what the medium is, whether at least if it's animation, live action. It doesn't mean it can't sway one way or the other, but usually whoever you're pitching to is going to be somebody in that specific division. They're not necessarily going to be one or both. There's usually one person's for animation, one person's for live action.
So when you're pitching to like Warner Brothers, it's not actually two brothers named Warner, right?
No. I wish. That would actually make it really fun.
That would be kind of cool. Yeah.
It's like, have you guys met the Parker brothers? You guys should.
So, do you? Is there like a split, like percentage wise, of what are you usually just pitching animations, animated films, or both live
mainly
action
animation, because that's where the bulk of my career has been.
Yes.
It's the bulk of where whatever reputation I have is at, and it's where I got the most street cred or whatever you want to call it, right? And that's
I feel like Bubba Hotep's the biggest street cred you have. To me, that's like the second you mentioned that.
I forgot.
There's a bunch of
what
stuff
was
you
your
mentioned,
involvement
but for me,
on
the
that?
second that was mentioned, I was like, "Oh my goodness,
Yeah.
that's the coolest."
I was
thing.
the VFX supervisor on it,
yes.
and did artwork for the Book of Souls that Bruce Campbell's looking through.
That's so great.
That was my first meeting with Don Coscarelli, which eventually got me Phantasm Ravager. But pitching, the animated stuff. One thing I like to tell people with pitching, not that I'm selling shows left and right or anything, but just my personal point of view is like, I like to have it figured out of what your medium is, but also, how you're going to do it. Luckily, I've had the fortune of show running some shows and can understand the budgets and what you need to do to save money or how to get the most for your dollar and stuff. But you don't want to, I don't necessarily feel like you want to have it so figured out that I have friends who've done that where it almost gets so figured out that you're married to your own idea to a point that you're not open anymore to criticism or changes.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, in our world, anyone who's part of a project, whether you're an executive or an artist, that's part of the creative fun of a show, is that it is a team effort.
Yeah.
So everyone's contributing something, whether it's how they designed a character is different than you wanted it to be or thought it could be, or an executive who has a story note that you might not necessarily agree with. I just like saying, for people to be open-minded, so you're adaptable, so you have enough figured out that you can make the thing happen, but you're not so married to your own idea that they said, oh, we liked it all except for that part, and now we don't want your project because we didn't like that part. That's the tough part about pitching, especially these days. It used to be, back in the days, you could be like, oh, I have this idea of 2 FBI agents and they're going to solve mysteries that the FBI doesn't want to deal with UFOs and stuff. And it's like, oh, cool. Let's make that show. And now it's like, well, we need your first episode script. We need your pitch Bible. We need all the stuff that was considered development at a time that studios would pay for. It's almost expected now when you're pitching a thing. So It's a fine line. That may not be true with higher end projects, but with the smaller guys like myself, just trying to sell animated shows, it's definitely the case.
Yeah, Con, what are your pitch meetings like? I'm kind of curious.
My pitch meetings. I really don't do pitch meetings. I'm pretty much focused on one particular thing: vengeance. You, Joshua, you task me, and I shall have you.
Oh no.
I shall chase you round the moons of Nevia, round the Antares maelstrom, and through perdition's flames before I give you up.
Wow, that was intense. Wow,
It's kind of my thing.
yeah, love it. Wow, my goodness, I thought our last like few Halloweens were pretty intense. With because I don't know if you knew this, Con, but we've had Gene Simmons on.
I don't know.
Vincent Price.
Yeah, Vincent Price.
Actually, I was. Timeline is correct. When I was frozen in cryogenic freeze, it was 1995. So yes, Gene Simmons, I am aware of.
Yeah, I love it.
That was over 200 years ago. Actually, I think I'm in a different time right now. What year is it here? What's the star date?
What star date is it?
Or maybe star date hasn't been invented. I don't know. I'm a little confused. It's the whole unfreezing process.
Yeah. We haven't gone to the captain's lugs yet.
Oh man, I adore that. So, David, I have a question about that because you've talked about like kind of juggling like multiple projects and stuff, and you actually seem really talented at multitasking. You've showrun, so you kind of have to be, right?
Yeah, I guess not necessarily. I've seen some shows.
That's true. That's true. But yeah, so my question's like, because like I'm potentially developing like a pitch with an author that wrote a really cool script, and so we're gonna be, and I had to adapt like one long script into like 2 graphic novels, and I have the script for the graphic novel now adapted, but I have to figure out like the time to kind of sneak in to do these little pitch pages, and I was kind of curious, like. And I know it's important to do because, like, if I push that off, it'll just keep getting pushed off, and then you're kind of losing that potential opportunity for like another cool thing.
The only thing would depend on if you think there's any wiggle room for the story to evolve or change. You don't want to lock in on the pitch.
Yeah,
stuff early on where it doesn't match the product. But but I mean,
but I was just kind of curious, like, how do you balance the
well, usually
the kind of pitching process with the more immediate like reward type stuff as well.
I try to like overlap the uses of things. So it's kind of like, sometimes like I'll write just like a 1-page treatment of what I'm doing, right? Just to one to go back to of this is the story I'm telling, right? But then you can take that same document, that same thing, and either break it up or break it into parts that you can use to help pitch the thing as well. Like, because as the pitch, you're trying to sell your story. There's also some hype, so you got to put in the hype a little bit, but you're mainly just trying to give a concise story. And one thing I like to do is like, you have multiple things. Like I personally like to do like the elevator pitch, right?
Yeah.
Like or you got your what's your one sentence that wraps up your whole story, right? And that's kind of like your tagline on a movie poster, right? But then you got a more like a paragraph of like, this is more of the elevator pitch, and then you might have like more of a 2-page treatment. The thing I like to do is just try to get it as concise as possible, because most people are going, I would say, just based off seeing the pitch materials, whether it's art or what, they're going to know if they're interested in your project in the first 10 seconds, well, almost regardless of what you write.
Yeah.
So if they're hooked enough by that they're going to actually read the thing, I like to just not overwhelm them with unnecessary details or the minutia of the story, but more of what's the emotion of the story. As opposed to, it's about this character and he has this job and he likes to do this, but this happens. Make it more about, it's this guy, he's depressed, or he's not appreciated, by his family or something. Like it's more selling the emotional of the thing, and put that in the pitch doc. I think that's a little more, I don't know if that answers your question, but it's more impactful that way. But as far as juggling those materials versus drawing, it's best to just kind of write some things down.
Yeah.
Just to have them down. Just to say to yourself, okay, I'll write this down. I know I'm not going to use it because I'll rewrite another pitch document later.
Yeah.
But then when you get to that point, you'll go back and read this stuff and you'll say, well, actually, that's pretty good. That's pretty concise. Or, I see now this might need a little bit more to it. So, because otherwise you're kind of forced doing it all at once, and you're almost kind of rushing it because you don't want to do it. And, it might not come out exactly as what you'd hoped it'd be. So, that's the way I try to deal with it. Just do a little bit and then just put it away going, it's crap. I'll come back to it. And then, just.
That's great though. Cause then that also opens up more avenues for like, you'll have a bunch of little like things kind of cooking. And you can have the thing you kind of work on, you put it away. The other thing you work on, put away. And like, whenever you have like a moment, you can be like, okay, we're hitting this one, that's great.
Well, I get so overwhelmed because I do have so many stories I want to tell. I have more stories to tell than I know I have years to make them.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, I just try to write down, for me, I'll have one day where I just kind of panic, right? It's my panic Friday or whatever. And it'll be like one day every 3 months where I'm like, oh, I had all these great new ideas. I know I'm going to forget them. And I just kind of write them down, like, oh, here's what the title was, or the idea.
Yeah.
And it's 2 sentences about what the storyline is, right? Don't get into the details. Don't get into the minutia. If you had a dream of an idea, you can maybe write that down. But, I just try to get the basic idea. And then when I reach a point where I'm like, oh, okay, I'm done with this book, I want to jump into what's my next one going to be? I kind of go to that and see, oh yeah, I forgot about that. That would be a fun one to do,
Yeah, that's perfect.
Inspired for it. But I saw like Jackie Chan once did, there was a behind the scenes or something, but he would show that he just had a scrapbook, and it was just a scrapbook of stuff he thought was cool, right?
Oh,
and
that's awesome.
He would just cut it out, pictures out of magazines or whatever, and he just put it in there, and this was kind of his movie book. And then when he was ready to do his next movie, he would just kind of go through the scrapbook and go, oh yeah, that was really cool. Let's do something like that. Or how could I, I don't know. I thought that was really inspiring and a really good idea, because you're capturing on these moments that you had in your past of how you felt a certain way because of a certain image or whatever. And then you're coming back to it, and it might be sparking even newer ideas, as opposed to what's my next thing going to be, and staring at a blank piece of paper, right? And then beating yourself up because you're not coming up with something you think should be brilliant. Well, a lot of the brilliant ideas that, were ideas that have been percolating a while and had time to grow and time to figure out what the loopholes in your story is. The faults in a story. Now I'm guilty as hell of that, because I work so fast. I'm constantly, the comic I'm doing now, I just said, screw it. I have an idea. I'm just going to go for it. and I'm just going to write the story as I go and see what happens. So as of right now, I have no idea how my story's going to end. I kind of know like A, B, and C road.
Yeah.
Kind of getting there. But for me, it's more like, what am I going to do on this page that gets me excited to do that page?
Yeah.
Like, what's the one panel or the one point of my story that it deserved its own page? What made this so special that I had to tell this story and give it its own page? So I try to think of it that way. Might not make a good story, but at least it makes at least one panel out of every page I like, and it's helping me get something done, right?
Yeah, and getting through it too, because like no matter how fast or slow you are, like making a graphic novel is a beast.
Yeah,
but
well, and I'm even at the point now where it's like, okay, I've done it, and I've gone back. It's like, oh man, my dialogue is pretty like childish and or boring, but it's real easy for me to go back in and rewrite new dialogue that spices it up. The images are like, it's kind of like watching a movie again, but turning the audio off. And it's like, okay, the picture should tell the story.
Yeah.
It was Hitchcock that always said he wanted his movies to work as a storyboard first, and he would storyboard them. It's like, you should be able to tell the story without words.
Yep.
And if you do that, then the words are there to help push the emotions and again move the story along. And I go back. I'm saying all this stuff and it sounds like esoteric and great. No, it's like I'm drawing a monster and cutting a girl in half, and it's just, hold on, ladies, I'm gonna. It's cheesy, but that's how I like to look at it as far as
and like
how to improve it, or it's just like not getting hung up on the moment, I guess.
Yeah.
Is knowing if you're doing a graphic novel, you're going to have a lot of time.
Yep.
So just because you're done with page 2 and now you're on page 30, it doesn't mean that, I wasn't happy with page 2. Well, no one's seen it yet. It doesn't mean you can't go back to page 2
and
make something that makes you proud of that page.
Yep.
That's the tough part, because if you're doing 100 pages, if you're looking at it as, I still got 75 to go, the drive I think you would get to finish those 75 is to be super proud of the first 25.
Yep.
So if it means going back in and fixing some things, I mean, the book I'm on now, I've gone and redrawn a lot of faces and things because I was just drawing quick in the moment. Now I like what I did. I want to go back and give it that little extra oomph. I think that part of the story deserved,
Yeah, I like that. And I don't think that's like too esoteric, because like I think most good art relies around really similar premises. Like it's, even great horror movies rely on a lot of the same like classic storytelling stuff.
Yeah.
That's why Hitchcock's so terrifying too. It's like Hitchcock could not show you anything like scary and yet have you on the edge of your seat scared to death. And like it's just in the way he framed his shots and stuff. So I think that's really salient advice and good to kind of think about. And I love that idea of you can always kind of go back and correct, because I think that's important, especially when you're writing too.
Yeah.
Because it's like, dude, your first draft's usually going to suck. It's usually going to suck. It'll be okay, but it's not. Yeah. No, it's usually not. We're not all Jack Kerouac just writing like this roll
that's
of
kind
paper.
Of what I'm doing with my current graphic novel. Maybe that's the wrong way of doing it, but for me, it's like that's the way to keep motivated. Is I can go back and change. Okay, that page actually sucked. I might redraw that page, or redraw some faces because you get a shorthand as you're doing it, and the last half of the book, the characters look different than the first half.
Yep.
But that's part of you're selling a graphic novel or a story as a whole. There's no reason why you can't go back and fix it up. But at the same time, you don't want to keep redoing the first 4 pages over and over and never get to page 5. Because you're changing 1 through 4 as a crutch to not jump that next hurdle. Yeah. But I think that's why I do it so fast and kind of just make it up as I go, at least on this current one. Not all of them are like that. Most of them I do write it, but for this one, it's more of just trying it and
Yeah.
fun as a little kid. Like when I was a kid making little goofy comics, you know, I would just kind of do one panel and do the next panel and do the next panel. And it was kind of exciting to see where it went. It's like a campfire tale, and everyone, you know, does adds something to it, and then the story's completely different. So I'm just trying that because it's fun. I'm sure the story's gonna suck. And
it may not. I mean,
but it does. But
I think
it doesn't
awesome.
even matter because for me, it's about the art and just the fun of the moment of making the thing and
and like
where I was in my life at that point.
And I've tried that method. And like for me, that hasn't worked yet, but it's like but a lot of my favorite cartoonists do that, you know, like where they'll literally just start like panel 1 and it just kind of writes as it goes. Chris Ware is one of my favorite writers of all time in comics, and like that's how he works. So it's like
crazy.
You know,
it's a crazy way because I'm used to like with my like the TV making, right? It's very A to B to C. Like you have to have everything planned out. So maybe it's my way of rebelling against that a little bit, and just I've done that system so long. Let's just have fun with it for once. But I'm really, the reason I keep saying it is like it's just I'm really excited about, you know, how it's coming because it's now I've got this crazy absurd kind of story that's gotten a little bigger and a little more epic than I ever thought it would be, and it's just kind of fun, you know.
That's awesome.
But it's a series, I think I told you guys before, but it's a series of like B movies that moving from the 60s, 70s, and 80s that supposedly were real. They've been made, but they've been lost, and now, but it's a comic book, but it's written as though it's a movie. And then at the back, and I wish Scott was here because he would love this, but at the back of the book, I'm doing like, here's all the nostalgia of that period. So I have underoos of the characters, the boxes, but it's underoos, under O-O-Z.
Nice.
So it's pretty gross, but you know, the movie poster, and here's movie stills, like a photo, you know, where I have friends dress up as though it's a movie shot. And,
so great.
So it's kind of doing that, but so it works in this sense because the story's supposed to be schlocky, you know?
Yeah.
If I was actually trying to do like a murder mystery or something, I probably wouldn't do it like that. You know, you might want some things planned out, but why I'm saying all this is that if you find yourself like you want to do a comic, but you're overwhelmed by whether your story's not good enough or that you get caught up in your own headspace of not starting because of one reason or another, don't let that stop you. Like just draw, just make it next. Like for the reason I did this comic was like, I was like, let's just do 1 page a day. Right.
I love it.
It ended up being 1 page every 2 days. So I would like kind of figure out what's this page going to be and figure out the composition and layout. And then I draw the border panels. Then the next day I would ink it and color it.
I love it.
And you know, I would just do 1 a day. For me, it was fun of like, where am I going to take this? And then I was like, let me throw something absurd into this and see where it's going to take me. So I have like this story where this captain has taken a bunch of young women who are having a party on an island. Well, the island's cursed, right? What's the island curse? And they've talked this boat captain. The one girl's super rich, so she paid him a lot of money to take them to the island. And then their boat is attacked by this deformed creature that's stitched together, takes down the boat. They're now on this island, right? And it's like, oh, okay, it's classic horror stuff. But then he finds this decapitated body of an indigenous native to the island, and he's just like, oh, it's happened again, you know. And I kind of left it on that. It's like, okay, so what happened again? What? Like,
I love it.
Set up these kind of like questions for myself to make it difficult. Then the next thing you know, it becomes this island of shrunken heads, but the heads are still alive. The bodies want their heads back, and the shrunken heads have been stolen. But it's this other guy, and he's killed everyone at the party and made Frankenstein monsters. And now I got these Frankenstein monsters fighting headless, this headless tribe. And then there was these doctors on either side. It just becomes this big war with these young girls and this boat captain caught in the middle. And it's just got kind of out of control.
If Scott were here, he'd probably say, "Take my money, please."
Yeah, I know. That sounds so cool.
Yeah.
You had me at, especially the shrunken head part. I'm like, okay, I'm really digging this. The living shrunken head.
Yeah, it's just bizarro, and it's just goofy. But again, it's the schlockiness of it and see where it goes. I'm excited to see how it ends. I don't know how it's going to end yet, but we'll figure it out.
Do you have like a length that you're shooting for? Like, because that sounds like something that could just go on.
I'm going for 100 pages, and I'm at 70 some now, and I actually think it might only be like 90 some. But I might actually go back through and say, hey, this was a great moment that I liked. I should have milked it a little more, and maybe add some more into that, or I might, go back in. The story made sense to me. There was one area where. I don't want to fall into the trap of let's throw all the exposition into one giant paragraph, right? Well, I kind of did in one area where there was a little too much exposition. So I'll break that up and I broke it up into 2 more pages of something else happening in the exposition, unraveling as the story goes. And, again, that's just kind of the process. Now, if I had it all thought out, maybe I would have caught that early on and before I drew anything and stuff. But I also might not have ever started drawing it because I don't know about you guys, but sometimes when I got the story so figured out in my head, I lose the drive to work on it because I've told it.
Yep.
It's almost like a mystery or a puzzle, and I've solved it.
Yeah.
I don't really. Then it feels like work.
Yep. There's elements that, at least for my own stuff, I still have to leave a little bit of mystery to some things. So even with the publisher I'm working with now, I'm doing roughs in sections because I want to keep some parts of the process fun, because otherwise I'll just, it can be a drag.
In some areas, and that's where you got to just kind of trust yourself, your instincts, and what makes a story a Josh story or Scott or Corey or whatever. What makes it individual to you anyhow. So I don't know. I'm trying it. I'll let you know if it works.
It sounds really cool to me. It sounds like it's working.
I'll after this I'll show you some and send some your way.
I was going to say regarding exposition, most writers don't use a lot of exposition, but I was thinking about con and exposition, and I was curious of your thoughts on exposition con.
Joshua, to talk about exposition, first you have to, of course, tell a story and go on to the history and fill the audience in, which reminds me of a tale.
Yes.
You mean to tell me you've never heard the tale to amuse your captain? Never told you how the Artcasters picked up the Botany Bay in the space in the year 1995? Myself, the ship's company, and cryo-freeze. Never told you how Captain Kerr sent 40 of us into exile on a barren sand heap with only the contents of our cargo bay to sustain us. This was SETI Alpha 5. SETI Alpha 6 exploded 6 months after we were left there. The shock shifted the orbit of the planet, and everything was laid waste. Captain Kerr never bothered to check on our progress. It was only the fact of my genetically engineered intellect that allowed us to survive. On Earth, 2,000 years ago, I was a prince. with power over millions. Does that answer your question about it?
That was brilliant.
Yeah,
Oh
I
my
want to see
goodness.
Con, Vincent Price, and Gene Simmons together.
Yeah,
They need
that's
their
true.
own show.
Honestly, I feel like that would be a great little side YouTube thing just to see you do a sketch as all three
Yeah.
characters hanging out.
You should. You should.
I saw a recent video, and David, you must be familiar with the Imagineering line of, not the Disney, of course, but the Imagineering line of special effects makeup from the 70s and 80s.
Oh yeah.
I saw Mr. Circlin put together a video about that, and it did feature Vincent Price in it as well. So who knows? There may be an instance or something in a future video where he may have to call on the help of a genetically engineered superior intellect such as mine.
Con, Gary Hodges has a question for you about your accent.
Yes. Well, Gary, you've stopped.
We're all waiting to see how this answer.
And let it be known that I probably don't have the way you're hearing me now is probably not the most authentic. But it's after
It's the vibe.
I'll just say that cryogenic freeze has an effect on your cerebral, like your language and see, as a genetically superior intellect, I can't even come up with words, but I'm not sure I can answer that question.
So,
I've heard that the unfreezing process makes it so you can't have an internal monologue or control the volume of your voice. Is that also true?
Yes.
Okay, that's good. It's good to know. All right.
So I wanted to show you guys something that I literally saw like 5 seconds before we started, and it made me feel really nostalgic because my kid had a Happy Meal, right? And they're doing these guys again.
Oh,
Like that's really cool.
That's cool.
So I thought that was cool because I was
I
like,
was
it's
gifted
almost
one
like
of
the same
those,
one.
Ghost.
Yep.
Yes. I didn't get the McBoo. Are you familiar with the McBoo? I remember.
Boo.
I think the McBoo from back when I was in my unfrozen state back there.
Kept the hot side hot and cool side cool.
Do they still have the McBoo? I wonder.
I think
Oh, man.
Con saying McBoo has made my entire night.
Oh man, that's good stuff. Well, we're at an hour and a half. Should we wrap? Should we? I think I need to escape.
Yeah, that's true.
Before a revenge is upon me.
Yes.
David, if there's one thing that you'd like people to do right now, what would you like them to do? Go buy Ghosts or?
Yeah, or check out Ghosts on Global Comics, or it's gonna come out on Zoop if you want a print copy. Keep your eyes open. Check out Zoop in the next couple weeks. Visit my Instagram, David Hartman Art. That's where I do most of my posting anymore, with art, pretty much on a daily basis.
Oh yeah,
there's art, so follow me there.
Awesome. And Josh, where can we find your stuff?
So you can find my stuff on joshuakimball.com, or you can order Jacob's Apartment or Two Stories. A good tip too, a good way if you guys have gotten those books. And this has actually happened, so please keep it up. Yeah, if you guys go to your local library and say, "Hey, Jacob's Apartment's a good book. Can you carry it?" That it actually has happened. I've seen it at libraries multiple places. So, and then other than that, I just will say it's always fun to have David on. And if you guys aren't following David on Instagram, you're missing like a lot of inspiration because he is constantly putting art up. It's always really fun and inspiring and cool and creepy and great. So yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, and I appreciate you coming on, David. It was
thank you,
great
Corey.
as always. You can find my stuff at CoreyKerr.com and check out the email newsletter there because I am doing the opposite of what David is doing and just kind of abandoning all social media because it's driving me nuts. Anyway, I'm sure that I will go off into ignominy at some point in time because of that. But in the meantime, you can check out my newsletter on my website. I don't know that I've been more excited to do this than this time, but Con, could you maybe with your intellect tell us how we can keep track of this show and where we might find things that are coming from the lab that you've commandeered?
Well, since I was not an actual member of the Artcasters, I had to try to remember this, so if I get it wrong, please forgive me. If you'd like to follow this show, it bounces back and forth between Captain Corey Kite's channel, Mr. Joshua Kimball's channel. It could be on different days and times and different guests. Like today we have the amazing David Hartman. Next week it will be somebody else. But if you want to know who is going to be on the show, what time it's going to be, the best way to learn how to do this is to join the Artcasters newsletter. And they don't spam you or wreak vengeance upon you or anything like that. All they do is usually about 30 seconds before they go live.
30 seconds.
30 seconds. I told I warned you. 30 minutes.
You've really got to be watching your email for it to be of any use at all.
I'm coming from the future where things happen very fast.
Of course. Yeah, it's
instant gratification, even more than now, which you might experience.
It's 30 seconds. It's 30 seconds start date time, so it's a different measure.
Well, and if you watch my interaction with Corey Kerr, when I give an ultimatum, I don't give him much time. I say, Captain, you have 60 seconds, and I will constantly remind him, 45 seconds. And Captain Kerr will say, I need more time. Time is a luxury you don't have, Captain. But where was I? So yes, go to the link in the description of this video. Click on that link and join the Artcasters mailing list, and you will be updated when a new episode comes out. And now that I've got that business out of the way, I guess I should tell Scott wanted me to tell you before I bound and gagged him in the corner, trying to get information about Captain Kerr so I can wreak my vengeance upon him.
It's really kind of you to listen to his request before you bind and gag him.
But as a courtesy, if I'm nothing else, I am fair. After all, when I give an ultimatum, I at least give 30 seconds. And, I forgot what
You're going to tell us what Scott wanted you to say.
I told him before he asked if I could do this, I said, I am not in a position to grant anything. And you, on a position... Excuse me, I ran out of my water. My throat's running dry. I said, you are not in a position to ask anything, and I, on the other hand, am in no position to grant anything. But nevertheless, if you go to circworks.com, you will find digital products for making comics. You will find art prints and a comic book called Young and the Dead, which is kind of like Goonies, which, yes, I was alive back when that was around. Even though in that time, it was supposed to be futuristic, and it really wasn't. But I think,
futuristic.
I think Star Trek was, what, 70 something, and back then 1995 was far in the future. Anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself and I'm breaking the fourth wall. But if I may, if you check out Young and the Dead, it's a kids versus zombie adventure story in the grand tradition of such masterpieces like The Goonies and Monster Squad, E.T., but with zombies. So check that out, and also check out what Mr. Circlin is doing on his YouTube channel at circworks.com. As David has mentioned, reverse engineering classics like kind of like what David has done with his wonderful ad of the $6 million man, but with a zombie. It fits right along with that. If you like that kind of things, you'll probably like that. So check that out. So that out of the way, I will leave you with this as my purpose here on this Artcast is clear. Corey Kerr, Captain Kerr, to the last I grapple with thee. From hell's heart I stab at thee. For hake's sake I spit my last breath at thee.
All right.
Sean's gone.
Yes,
gone. Corey, you might want to be careful.
Yeah, I think I might go offline for a little while. All right. All right, everybody. We'll see you guys next week. Have a good Halloween. Be safe out there.
You
Go make
guys.
stuff. Thanks for coming on, dude. We'll see you. I know the long